Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Aditya and I'm a BI professional. So I make bi-weekly videos in this YouTube channel which focuses upon Tableau, Python and SQL language. So if any of this topic interests you, then do give it a look. And if you love watching my style, like how I make videos, and if you learn something from it, then also subscribe to the channel and also share with your friends if possible. And also click on the notification link to get the latest update. So in this particular video, this is the part 2 of our previous series, that is like exploratory data analysis. So we have deal with the previous thing. So let me just share my screen. So from previous video, like we have started from our setting the scope of the project to gathering the data, like different files we have gathered. We have cleaned the data, we have checked for duplicate and the outlier that is present in the data, and we have also done the exploratory data analysis. We have like found out like some of the insights, like the person who are getting discount, like they are churning or not churning, like what is the cancellation rate for that cases. And we have also seen like what are the average sessions like the customers are taking in that particular app, and like which genre like is mostly viewed by the customer. So till this part, like we have done in our previous video. So those who are joining new in this particular video, so I encourage you to watch the previous video, so you will get a solid background and you will get the initial setup like that we have done. So in this particular video, like we'll be continuing our part and we'll be learning how to prepare our data for modeling. Okay, so now the thing is like now we have to learn like how to prepare your data for modeling. So basically, like whenever you are building a machine learning algorithm, so there are two things. So one are feature and the second thing is target. So basically target are the field that we are going to predict. So in this particular case, like we have to predict like whether a customer will churn or not churn. So that is our target field, and the features can be like the field which from which we are able to predict that thing. With the help of fields we can predict the target that are known as features. So in this case, like that are features can be like the customer ID will be the main feature because we have to perform for the customers. So customers, we have in customer table, like we have the field known as discount. So we have also seen the pattern like in a data, right? Like the person who are getting discount are most likely to cancel, the cancellation rate were higher in our analysis. So that can be a perfect field for predicting a target field. And the other thing we can take as like cancellation thing, like cancellation, the person has cancelled or not cancelled, so that column also can be a good predictor. And there can be other things also, like the person like who are listening to pop music or who are listening to our podcast. So we have seen this trend, so we can also check into like what are the percent of people who are listening to pop music, and like what are the chances like they will churn or not churn, because like the customers are most in this pop genre. So like these people may be the ones like who are most frequently using our app. So these all thing like we can build our in our final data frame that will be giving as an input in our machine learning algorithm. And the machine learning algorithm in this particular case, like we have to use the classification model, because like we are telling like whether it is a yes or no, right, condition. We are not using a regression model because like we are not dealing with the numerical field in this particular machine learning model, right? And the other thing you have to remember is like whenever you are whenever you are giving the input, your final data frame, that should have all the integer values or numeric values, because like string are not able to pass in the machine learning algorithm. It can create some issues, right? So this is one of the major thing that you have to remember. So now the first step is like, let me just rename this as model data frame that we are going to fetch. So let us start with these three field. So let us start the data frame like while adding customer ID, customer cancelled and discount one. So this particular columns like we were having in a customers data set, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just writing equal to customers, and I will write all the columns name. So I'm just going up to check my, or what I can do is I can just rerun here customers dot head. So head will return the five fields. So perfect. So now what I want is I want my customer ID. So I will just copy this, Control C and Command C on Mac if you're working, comma. Then what I want is this cancelled field. That is the most important field because like we have to predict that. And the third thing is like discount. Okay. So I'm just copying that and just click on enter. So this is our model data frame that we are building. Okay, so these three fields we have added. Okay, So now these two field are the numeric field. Okay, so now we have to add more field, because like the more features we have, with the help of more features we can predict the target, right? With the help of these two only one feature, like that is discount, that is in that we can predict, but like there are chances like the result might be not perfect. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, now we are going to add a sessions, so in this particular data frame. Okay, so for the sessions, like previously, like we have done the calculation. So if I go up, so you can see we have done this calculation like group by customer ID and session. So the same thing we can do again. So let me just recap. So we'll be using a df data frame that last we have used. So for adding group by, you have to write group by statement, then curly braces, then you have to mention the first field, that is the customer ID. And what we want to do is we want to see the unique sessions. So what I can do is I can use the square bracket, and I can write the second column session ID, and what I will do is I will just give as n unique, so that will give me number of unique session, and click on enter. So these are the, for each customer the unique sessions have been there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to rename this column and rename this as total sessions. Okay, and what I will do is I will just use reset index function, so that will create me a perfect table. Okay, perfect data frame. Okay, so now what I can do is I can name this like all this calculation that we have done, I will just create a new variable or data frame, you can say number of sessions, and I will just save it inside that. Okay, so let me just rerun this, number of sessions dot head. Perfect. So you can see for 5001, like we have our 8 sessions total. So now the thing is so now what we can do is we can use these two table, and we can merge these two tables, like and add this total sessions in the this particular table. So for doing so, what we can do is this simple thing, merging into final data frame. Okay, so what I will do is I will just write model df equal to model df dot merge, and what I want to merge it with, I want to merge it with number of sessions. So I'll just provide that number of sessions. Then how I want the table to be merged, so I want the left join, because I want all the records of the customer table to be preserved. So left join, and on the basis of what you want to do, I want to do on the basis of customer ID field, right? So this is the thing. So now what I can do is I can just read model.df head. Okay, I've just written it caps, so that is my mistake, sorry. So I'll just rerun it again. Perfect. So you can see as if now like it is like converting into 3 fields, right? So there is some issue in the Tableau workbook. So what in the Python workbook. So what I can do is I can just restart and run all. I will just restart my kernel. There might be some cache files, so these type of thing like create sometime problem. So to solve this, you can rerun. So if I scroll down, perfect. So now you can see, now it is showing the correct way, right? The cancelled, discount, and total more session. So we have clubbed these 3 things. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have done these 4 parts, right? So we can also like check in a data like what are the percentage of people that are listening to pop music, and what are the percentage of people that are like listening to podcast. Okay, so for doing so what we have to do is, so basically now what we have to do is we have to convert our categorical variable, right? So like in a data frame that we got, like the genre column that I discussed, like we will exploring. So in the genre column you can see like there are so many categorical field, right? So what we have to do is like we have to convert into the numeric field, so it can be easily understand by the machine. Okay, that can be fed into the machine learning algorithm. So what I can do is there's one function known as get dummies for pandas. So what it does is like it will create the dummy field for each column, like it will convert this all the particular categorical field into the columns, and it will show the numbers. So if I click on OK, so you can see now it is showing 0 and 1. So if it is a pop music, it is showing 1. If it is not a pop music, it will show 0. Okay, so that is how this is interpreted. But as if now like this is not making sense, because like we are not having customer ID in our particular picture, right? So what we have to do is we have to also like give customer ID, and then we have to link it with this particular table, so that will make more sense. Like for each customer, like what are the genre like people are watching, right? So that can be a good criteria for our model feature for our prediction. Okay, so what I can do is I can use pd.concat function. So what I can do is in this particular case, I can use my data frame df, and from df what I can do is I can just call my customer id and I can concatenate it with the get dummies field of the genre. So just writing this, and I have to pass inside a list. Remember, like previous video we have seen, like we have to give a pass into inside a list so that it will concatenate. So now the next thing is like we have to give x is equal to 1 because like we are merging it on the column wise. And let me just run this. Perfect. So it is working. So now the thing is you can see like this 5001 number, like it is getting too many times, so it is not grouping. But what we want is our final outcome to be like our customer id should be unique, right? It should be a primary key. So what we have to do is we have to group by customer. So I'm just writing that statement. So what we will do is we'll just copy this, we'll just paste this, and we'll use a group by clause here. So what I want is I want to group it by customer id. So I will just add customer id here, and this time like I just want to give a simple aggregation sum. Click enter. Perfect. And what I want is I want to reset my index, so it will reset the index for me. Perfect. So now you can see it is perfect, right? And what I can do is I can just save it inside a genre data frame. Okay, so you can see for 5001 customer, like there are 34 pop music and 26 hip hop music like he is listening to, and there is 0 true primes and 0 comedy, so no podcast here. Okay, so now this is perfect. So now what I can do is I can just add one more column here that can be like more fruitful. Like we can add the total, like what is the total number of music history. Okay, so for creating a total, what we can do is creating total for each customers. What we can do is we can just revisit our audio table. So audio table, there's nothing. We have to go to our listening history table. Yeah, so in the listening history table you can see like there are each customers that are having like different audio IDs. So if I group by customer ID and if I sum all the audio ID, so that will give me the count of total audio. So like total audio thing listen, because audio type are two things, song and podcast. So that is being considered when we are adding this up, right? So that is the logic behind it. So I hope you are clear with it. I know like it for you, like if you are doing it for the first time, like this seems to be a lot, but this is how like you have to process with your data, because like now I know my data, like what are the columns, what are the different tables we have combined. So I know like in my backend like what I have to going to do. But like this all I know because like I have listed down first. So the main thing is like you have to list down what all you can do. So as we started the video, I just told you like these are the things that which I'm going to do. So at this type of thing you can just list it down, or you can also write your logics. When you are listing down the points, you can just write simple in layman term, you can write the logic how you are going to calculate. So that will be easy for you to while working upon creating like this small calculations, tweaks and that. Okay, so if you are liking this video, then do give it a, so if you're liking the video, so do subscribe to my channel as it helped me a lot. So now moving back, so now what I have to do is I have to use my these two field, right? So what I can do is I can just use my listening history, and what I can use is dot group by, and what I want to group it by is I want to group it by customer ID, and what I want is I want my audio ID count, right? So there's some issue. So yeah, I have just done some typo here. So now it's perfect. So now what I have to do is I have just to change to data frame. I have to just choose to frame, oh sorry, it is our data frame itself, so this is the wrong thing I have written. So what I have to do is I just have to reset the index. Perfect, so now it's working fine. And what I can also do is I can just rename like store this particular thing into my audio all. Okay, so I've written rename column, so like there's only field rename which I have to write. So these are the small things like which happens mostly like whenever we are working. So these are the small things that we also forgot, so that is just common thing, so we have to just fix that like while doing hidden trial. So now the thing is like let me just verify if this thing are correct or not. So if I see my genre field, so for 5001 like 34 plus 26 it is 60, that is correct. For 5002 22 and 9 it is correct, then it should be 3 2 5 45. Perfect, so our calculations are coming out to be perfect. So now what I have to do is I have to just combine this genre field that we have calculated with the audio all table. Okay, so what I can do is I can just use my genre and I can just use merge function, and what I want to merge it with, I want to merge it with audio all field. And what I want to do is I want to do a left join. So how I want to join, I want to preserve all my genre field columns, and what I want to do is I want to do it on the basis of customer ID. I want to prepare my join, right? So customer ID, click on OK. Perfect. And what I can give this is as name as final what I can do this name as df final, anything you can give, final data frame. Okay, so I can just run this final data frame. Now this is perfect. Okay, so now what I want is I have just created this final data frame, but I'll be using some only parts. So what I can do is I can just check like what are the percentage of customer who are listening to pop music and percentage of customer who are listening to podcasts. So podcasts are a comedy and true crime that we saw in the last video. So what I'm going to do is I am just working upon like adding features, percentage pop and percentage podcast listener. Okay, that can help in our data modeling input. Okay, this feature can help. So what I can do is I can just call my original data frame. So our first data frame that we started with, that is like model underscore data frame. So what I can do is I can just add model underscore data frame dot head. So this was a data frame. So now what I will do is I will just add one more column here. So the first column which I want to add is I want to add percentage pop music they are listening. Okay, so for writing that we have to build our calculation. So what I can do is I can use just this my final df data frame that we have created. So my final data frame dot, and what I want is I want my pop music and divided by my final data frame with the total audio listen, my column total audio listen, and if I enclose this into a bracket and multiply it by 100, so that will give me the percentage, right? So let me just rerun this. So hopefully like it is calculated perfect. So now just to verify like our percentage are correct or not, so let us just do that for one of the case. So you can see in this pop music is 34 and total listen is 60. So if I do 34 divided by 60, so you can see 56.6%. So that is coming out to be correct. Let us just do for one more case. So so for this 23 pop music, so 23 divided by 45, so it is 51.11 correct. So a percentage pop calculations are coming out to be correct. So percentage people who listen to pop music. Okay, so this is coming out to be correct. So we have done our correct calculation. So now one more thing we can add is we can add the podcast one. So for podcast, those who are listening, so in this case what we can do is we know like we have comedy and true crime other podcast. So what I can do is I can just add two data frame here. So one is true crime, so I can just call that plus final underscore data frame, and one more thing is her comedy. Okay, and enclose this into one more bracket. We can put two bracket here now, and we can enclose this into two bracket now. And what I can do is I can just rename this as podcast. Click on enter. Perfect. So for the first all the 5 cases it is 0, so you can see like comedy and crime are not there, so that's why like it is coming out to be 0. So you can also verify it, like with the full data you can verify it correct only. So if you do the calculation, like 5 plus 0 is the total podcast they have listened to this customer. So 5 plus 0 is 5 and divided by total is 5, so it is giving us 100%. Okay, so our percentage are coming out to be correct, so that also we have verified. So this is our final data frame that we have prepared. So now the thing is like you can work and add more features like according to your wish, according to your estimation, like what all field you can use in this particular data frame to feed into your input. So this is the good practice that we have done till now. So now let us just check like which are the column that are correlated. We just need to check out like if we have built the calculations, we have used the correct columns that can predict our target, right? So for that what you can use is you can use a pair plot in that is the Seaborn library. So what I can do is I can just import Seaborn as SNS. So this is one of the libraries that we can do. So what I can do is I can just write sns.pairplot and I can just pass my data frame, model data frame. So what it will do is it will calculate all the possibilities, all the columns that are present. So with all the help with the trend line it will show. But in this particular case, like we have our limited data, like in this it is only 3-month data, so you cannot find any relationship like linear or linear relationship in this particular case. You cannot find any normal distribution also, like there is like kind of normal distribution but like we cannot identify correctly, right? So in this case what we can do is we can use our correlation we can use a correlation function to do so. So how to do so? So what we have to do is we have to just write our data frame and we can just write core function correlation. So it will show me all the correlation between each columns. And what I can do is I can just create a heat map, so it will be more easy to look. So what I can do is we can use Seaborn library sns.heatmap and just do it. Perfect. So as if now like the picture is not clear, so what I can do is I can just add my annotation. So I can just add annote equal to true, so that will just show me the numbers. And what I can do is I can just change the scale. So for changing scale what I can do is I can just add b minimum equal to -1 and b maximum equal to +1. Okay, we cannot give v minimum, to just check v minimum, v maximum. Okay, I've just written v capital, so that's why it was not picking. Perfect. So now it is, you can see -1 to +1 it has taken the scale. And what I can do is I can just change the color palette. So for changing the color palette we can use this CMap thing. So I can just add cool warm color. So now it is perfect, right? So now what I have to do is I have to predict the cancelled, like the person who have cancelled. So I can see like if the color is like going toward 1, that means like it is highly correlated, and if it is below -1 then it is correlated but it is negative, like it is on the negative cycle it is correlated if it is close to -1. Okay, so we have to see the cancel column. So in the cancel column you can see the discount and the percentage of people who are listening to pop music are the two features that are like highly correlated, like it is like 50%. So these are the good indicator, like we will be feeding this data into a machine learning algorithm. And you can also see the total sessions one that are also correlated but negatively correlated, but it is like around like like near to 0.5. So this thing is like if the person is spending time in the app, so that means like they are less likely to churn, right? So that is the correct assumptions, like that is the correct final outcome that we are getting. So this is the final data frame that we have created. So this is how you have to work upon like creating the final data frame before feeding into your machine learning algorithm. And this is a small check that you can use using a pair plot and like this heat map. So in this case like pair plot was not useful, but most of the time like if you're dealing with the dense data, so that time like the pair plot are very useful because you can see the normal distribution and how the things are happening behind the picture. So that is one of the thing. So I hope you find this video useful and you learn something from it. If so, do subscribe to my channel and also share with your friends if possible. So see you soon in the next video. Till then, bye bye, happy visiting and a very happy holidays to all of you, and Merry Christmas, like those who are watching my channel. So see you soon.